Welcome to Paul Lima's Book-est podcast. At 71, with 2 chronic conditions, and a raspy voice that sometimes fails, I am using a text-to-speech generated voice for this podcast. This is my Book-est podcast. What do I mean by Book-est? This is about the best books I have written, in various categories. For instance, what is my most popular book? It has to be How to Write a Non-Fiction Book in 60 Days, with over 15,000 copies sold. The book seems to have hit a nerve with those who want to write non-fiction books. What is my most academic book? There's a tie in this category. Harness the Business Writing Process, a book, as the name implies, about business writing, from email to reports, is tied with Copywriting That Works, a book about writing promotional advertising copy. They were both used for a number of years as textbooks for University of Toronto continuing education courses. What book required the most research? It has to be, hands down, The Acorn Legacy, a historical novel spanning 17 centuries and 7 countries. As my tagline for the book says, the story is fiction, but the history is real. Can you imagine how much research I had to do to write a book that spans 17 centuries and 7 countries? I don't know how people wrote historical novels before the internet. I was conducting research on Google almost every day for hours over 6 months. What is my most personal book? It would have to be Chronic, a sick novel. In Chronic, 4 people with chronic conditions move in together and life goes on. I have 2 chronic conditions and the novel is very personal, as one of the main characters has multiple sclerosis, as I have had for 25 years. You might think that a novel about people with chronic conditions would be depressing. But the book is rather uplifting. It's about how people with chronic conditions can live the fullest lives possible, within their limitations. In the non-fiction category, it would be everything you need to know about multiple sclerosis. The book goes well beyond my personal journey with MS, and covers pretty much everything people with MS need to know about the chronic condition. What is my most intriguing book? At least the one that intrigued me the most in terms of the thinking that I had to do to write it. To write The Acorn Legacy, I had to do a heck of a lot of research. But in my dystopian novel, The Other Half, in which half of the world's population dies, I really had to think of the implications that would have on those who remained. I had to think about what their lives would be like, and how they would motivate themselves to carry on. While the catastrophe is global, we follow a small group in one town, to give the book a personal feel. And then what were my funnest books to write? I think we have a tie for that with books in genres that I never thought I would tackle. First, is my romance novel, or as I like to call it, my romance novel with a twist, Love Sick. The twist is that both lead characters have chronic conditions. The other book would be my young adult novel, Off-Court Games, about a group of high school students who solves a major computer-related crime at their school. If you want to know more about any of the books I have mentioned, conduct a search on Amazon, but use book title Paul Lima. That brings up the book that I have written. All of the books that I have talked about are available on Amazon and Kobo. Many, but not all, are available at other online bookstores. That's it for now. If you want to read more about me, go to paullima.com. I hope you can find a book that you enjoy reading, even if it's not one of mine, because there's a heck of a lot to be said for reading. Thanks for listening. Bye now.